Hi guys, welcome back to my woodworking shop. In my last video I talked about my journey so far, how I've already spent around 8,000 to 10,000 euros on this YouTube journey, while only making about 16 euros back until this point. And in that video I also showed you my plan, and that plan was simple: start building and selling tables. So here I am, actually building them. But already on my first table I have been running into some problems that I didn't expect. Let me show you what I did. After cutting the walnut beams to size, I laid them next to each other. As expected, there was still a visible seam between the boards. That's completely normal. The challenge is getting that seam to disappear. The plan for the first attempt was this. I attached the boards together using some leftover wood and double-sided tape. Then I carefully ran the saw straight to the existing seam. The result? Definitely an improvement, but still not perfect. And like I said before, I want this to be perfect. So to get the seam absolutely perfect, I decided to invest in a hand plane. After watching countless tutorials on YouTube, I finally felt confident enough to try it myself. The goal was simple. Create a perfect seamless joint by hand. But after about 30 minutes of planing, this was the result. Yes, the middle section of the boards fit together perfectly, but the ends, they still weren't at the level I wanted to be. And after all that shaving, adjusting and trying different things, I ended up with a massive gap on both sides. Man, woodworking is really hard. And those gaps, they are just something I can't live with. I need to figure out how to fix this. I want to sell high-end tables, not something everyone can build. So after spending some time watching YouTube and doing some research, I have got a plan. I'm going to build a jointed jig for my table saw. So with that said, let's start building. I started this build by picking up some plywood. Then I began working on the guide system. I set the table to the right dimensions and cut out a test strip from the leftover MDF I had lying around. This allowed me to dial in the measurements and make sure everything was accurate. Once the test strip was finished, I moved on to making the final guide from the plywood I had bought. I wanted to make the guiding strip from the same sheet of plywood I was using for the final jointed jig, so I could be sure they were exactly the same size. Once the final guide strip was finished, I applied wood glue and super glue to it. Then I placed the rail into the table saw slot and clamped everything down securely. After a quick test to make sure it moved smoothly through the groove of the table saw, I placed some heavy beams on top of it, so there was enough pressure for the glue to bond properly. After a day of trying, I removed the plywood structure. Now it was time to cut it down to its exact final size. I did this by rotating the wooden piece and trimming it directly along the saw blade. That way I know that every time I use this jointed jig, it will cut perfectly in line with the blade. The next step was routing the T-tracks into the jig. This was the second time in my life I was doing something like this. And compared to the first time, it already went a lot faster and smoother. One thing I definitely learned from this build is that I'm never going to apply this double-sided tape directly onto my projects again. Man, removing it was an absolute nightmare. From now on, I will be first applying a layer of painter's tape to protect the project and then place the double-sided tape on top of that, so it could be easily removed later. Now that my simple but effective mold was secured in place, I started routing out the plywood. In total, I made 3 passes with the router, removing only a small amount of material each time. That way, I'm not putting too much stress on the wood and risking damaging it. And that is something YouTube has definitely taught me. Better 1 pass extra than 1 too few. And there we go, the T-track fit perfectly in place. It's a great feeling when you notice that even these kind of tasks are starting to become easier over time. Because honestly, routing feels like an art for me. A woodworker who has complete control over a router is an artist in my eyes. And I'm definitely not considering myself at that level yet. But back to the project. Because for the second T-track, I repeated the exact same steps as before. So this one would also sit cleanly and functional in place. Next, it was time to cut the aluminium T-tracks down to the size. For this, I used a hacksaw. At first, I tried cutting them while the T-track was still mounted in the jointer jig on the table saw, but I quickly noticed that I didn't provide enough support. So instead, I secured everything to my workbench. There, I could clamp it down properly and apply enough pressure with a hacksaw to make clean cuts. After checking if it fits, I repeated this process for the second T-track. Next, I decided to secure T-tracks using super glue combined with activator spray. Normally, I would prefer using screws, but every screw I had was way too long and would go straight to the remaining plywood underneath the T-track. So in this case, screws simply weren't an option. That's also why I would recommend using thicker plywood if you plan on building a jointer like this. I used 18mm plywood, but honestly, I wouldn't have minded going even thicker. Now that the T-tracks and matching sliding panels were in place, I could stop making the guide rail. This rail will be holding the mounting mechanisms in place later on. By attaching this wooden piece to the sliding parts inside the T-track, I will create an adjustable fan system. I had this piece cut to size at the local hardware store, using a very expensive saw, which ensured it was perfectly straight. After marking where the holes needed to go, I started drilling them. I used the same drill bit size as the threaded rod that will eventually fit inside. Measuring everything out and getting it fit perfectly is always the hardest part for me. Being a tiny bit off just means it won't fit. You might not see it on camera, but for one of the holes I also had to slightly route it out to make it fit properly. Still, it felt really satisfying when everything finally set in place. And with these knobs I can lock the guide rail in place and adjust it to whatever measurement I need for my project. After that, I started assembling the clamping system. These clamps are meant to hold the beams in place while I'm cutting the size. That way I can create clean and accurate wood joints. During this build, I quickly realized that I probably should have used a thicker piece of wood for my guide rails. A lot of beams I cut to size are actually pretty thick, which means the clamps don't always grip as well as they should. It's definitely something I might improve or redesign in the future, but for now it gets the job done just fine. The clamping mechanism itself was pretty straightforward to install, using a simple bolt that just needed to be tightened into place. I also added 2 of these clamping mechanisms. They came together with the T-tracks order and maybe I will find them handy. I don't know yet. Once everything was in place, I decided to temporarily remove the guide rails so I could get rid of the leftover adhesive from the double-sided tape I used earlier. In the end, sanding turned out to be the best option for removing it. It's a bit of a shame though, because the sanding slightly damaged the plywood surface and even the T-tracks in the process. I think removing the tape residue would have been a lot easier on a melamine board instead. Looking back, that probably would have been the better material choice for something like this, but it is what it is. After sanding everything down, I could finally reinstall the guide rail. And with that, the build was officially complete. It was finally time to test the jointer jig. This was definitely a pretty exciting moment. I was really hoping it would produce a perfect straight joint. To make that happen, I started by measuring the thickness of the beam. Then I adjusted the guide rail to sit slightly below the measurement, making sure the entire edge of the beam would be cut perfectly straight. Once everything was dialed in, I clamped the beam securely in place. And now came the ultimate test. Would this actually create the perfect wood joint? Let's find out. Judging by these final shots, I would definitely say it worked. Everything looked clean, straight and fully functional. But before I show the final result, I first want to show you a quick before shot, followed by the actual end result. So this is the before shot, and here you can definitely spot a small gap at the end of the boards, just like I showed you before in the beginning of the video. And this is the final result. Across the entire length of the beam, I can clearly see an improvement. The joint is much tighter at the beginning and at the end of the board. But am I satisfied? I will share my own thoughts in the final results in a moment. But first I'm curious, what do you think? Does it look improved? More importantly, do you think it's good enough for a small business that wants to sell high-end tables? The joints improved a lot, but I'm still not 100% satisfied, more like 95%. And for me, 95% isn't just good enough. I want to go for the full 100%. I want to be really proud of the work that I'm making and going to sell. But I also have to admit, woodworking is something that's way harder than I expected it to be. So with that said, I decided to buy another machine, a proper jointer. And even I bought it fully aware that it was probably falling into the same trap again. Buying tools instead of selling anything. But I also want to look at the bright side of this journey so far. Because now, with the jointer jig, I can get my boards around 95% perfect. And with this new planer machine, I can bring those boards from almost perfect to perfect. But I still think that the jointer jig that I made is not useless. The jointer jig is the first step in my process to make my boards perfectly flat, so I have no gap between my boards anymore. So with this build finished, I'm one step closer to actually building and selling tables. Because my goal still is to make some money and become an established woodworker. So if you want to follow this journey, don't forget to subscribe. Because in my next video you will definitely see me building and selling some tables. But I also want to update and inform you about the business side of this hobby. Because at this point, the journey I'm in, you can't really call it a business. It's more like a hobby that I'll try to turn into a business. And I think it's fun to inform you about the finance that I'm going through and trying to make some revenue on this hobby or business. So with that said, I want to wrap up this video and I will see you in the next one.